Hi guys, Ep2 here, and today we're going to be talking about the final season of Game of Thrones. This is Season 8, Episode 2, titled A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and we are going to talk about that today. Let's do this! So the way I'm going to do this is I'm basically just going to go ahead and talk about some things in the episode and give my overall opinion on the episode. The way that these things have to work is that these episodes all tie in together. That's the kind of show this is. So it is kind of hard to give you an actual review on the episode itself because it's not a start to finish self-contained stories. But so basically that's the way I'm going to do it. Talk about it, then give you my review of the actual episode at the end. So we open up and we have Jaime standing trial before Daenerys, Sansa, Bran, and Jon. Jaime's basically getting his balls handed to him, and Tyrion stands up for him, and he gets his balls handed to him. So Brienne finally stands up for Jaime, as Jaime did for her in Season 2 and Season 3, and that's a real good callback. I think what this season so far has done a lot of callbacks and tied up a lot of things back to the earlier seasons, and I don't think it's getting enough credit for doing that. Brienne standing up for Jaime makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Brienne has a lot of goodwill with Sansa. Jon's like, I don't care. We need people to defeat the White Walkers. It doesn't matter to me. This is all petty nonsense. And Daenerys basically yields to both of them, and yeah, Jaime's free to go. That was the ending of last episode, and you thought it might be a thing. Nope, they wrapped it up real quick, and the episode's all the better for that. Of course, following that, you have Jaime and Bran talking in front of the God Tree, which, you know, the whole thing is Jaime threw Bran out the window. Like I said in my previous video, people forget Jaime was a terrible person in the earlier parts of Game of Thrones. He really kind of was. He threw this little kid out the window. You know, he goes to apologize, and he's not really Bran anymore, so you know, he's like, all right, that's cool, whatever. Jaime asked if he's going to say something about it after they defeat the White Walkers. Well, Bran's response is pretty spot on. How do you know there's an afterwards? Yeah, real ominous. I love the scenes with Jaime and Tyrion together again. This pair is just so good. Also, Tyrion, even though he's been the hand of the queen for Daenerys, I feel like he's been pretty lonely. There's not too many people he can really trust. Jaime's like one of the only people still that he trusts. So seeing them together and being just honest with each other and playing off each other was just really good to see again. Then we get another face-off with Sansa and Daenerys. Daenerys is really trying here to reach out to Sansa. Sansa's just not having any of it. And I don't think it's necessarily any kind of real malice or hating Daenerys. It's just a matter of fact, and that's pointed out in this episode, is that Sansa just is like, hey, look, the North was taken from us, we took it back, we aren't trying to kneel to anybody else, we're our own thing now, and we don't want to be a part of it. It's not you, it's us. We don't want to be a part of it. If we survive this, we want to be our own thing. You know, North and South Westeros. Obviously, Daenerys doesn't like that idea. You can't rule the Seven Kingdoms with one of the kingdoms in open rebellion. They've mentioned this several times throughout Game of Thrones. So you can't have the North be a separate thing. It doesn't seem to be a reasonable thing to say. So, yeah, they're at an impasse, it seems like. Then we get Theon returning, and Theon returning is a pretty cool moment. Sansa definitely accepts Theon back. Theon helped her escape Ramsay Bolton, and he basically, Theon's just been in a redemption arc over the last couple seasons. And as I said in the last episode, him saving his sister was super rushed, and that was supposed to be his redemption. I guess they aren't treating it as his actual redemption. His actual redemption is coming back to Winterfell and standing for the Starks. So, you know, that's fine. Either way, I do want to see Theon get some redemption. I have a real real bad feeling he's going to bite it in the next episode. Speaking of which, a lot of people are going to bite it in the next episode. A lot of people are going to die. Yeah, we'll get to that. So after the big planning meeting where you have all your characters together and they're looking at the map and they're like completely outnumbered and there's really no way to win, they're trying to figure out how to kind of draw the Night King out, because the only way to win is to take out the Night King and all the other White Walkers are going to die. Obviously, that is the only way to win. They're way outnumbered. I don't know, 1,001 or something. It's ridiculous, even with all of Daenerys' troops there, so after this, there's a scene where Tyrion sticks behind and he talks to Bran and he wants to know Bran's story. Bran's like, yeah, my story is stranger than most. And there's this, Tyrion sits down and talks to him, and it really had me thinking afterward, maybe Bran's gonna die. I think Bran is gonna die in the next episode. It seemed pretty ominous. Why would they even put that scene in there? I mean, Tyrion likes to hear stories that make sense. But I'm not really sure why they'd put that in there unless the whole idea is that Bran actually dies. Because if Bran dies, nobody who's really alive knows really what he went through. So it makes sense that Tyrion knows, because now somebody knows when he dies of what he did. It ties back to what the message of this episode was, which was that, we're all just memories. We're all, stories. And if nobody remembers what Bran went through to get to where to become the Three-Eyed Raven and all the stuff that they, the Hodor and everybody else died for to get him there, it's like it never happened. It kind of ties in. So I think there's a pretty good chance Bran's gonna die. Yeah, it's kind of sad, man. So many people are gonna die. I know it. I'm preparing myself. Prepare yourself. Winter has come. Everybody's gonna die. Speaking of everybody's gonna die, Grey Worm and Missandei, there's this scene where they're talking about, going back to the Island of North after they take out the White Walkers and Daenerys is on the throne. Grey Worm's gonna die. Grey Worm's gonna die. They lingered on him too long. They set this little thing up. Yep, no happy ending for Grey Worm. He's gonna die. This goes back to my video I did previously saying who I think was gonna die. Grey Worm was on the list. Speaking of the Night's Watch, like I said, Jon, Sam, Ed, they're pretty much it. They're the remainders of the Night's Watch. There's a really cool scene where they're talking on top of the walls of Winterfell, and Ghost, they finally stuck Ghost. I think they definitely put him in like after they shot the episode, because he looks pretty out of place. He's in the left-hand corner if you go back and watch during this scene. Nobody acknowledges that he's there, so it's a pretty good shot that people complain, hey, where the hell's Ghost at? And they're just like, well, he's over there. He's in the corner. He's in the corner. Tyrion is going to get the best line of the episode. I feel like I should have done a best line of the episode last episode, but oh well. It's already done and passed, so I'm not going to go back to it. The best episode, or the best line from this episode, was definitely Tyrion's line, the perils and the betterment, which is a great line. Anybody can identify with that. Yeah, you get better as a person, but, there's things that are going to cost you along the way. Tormund's origin story is priceless. God, I can't believe they actually fit this in. It was such a nice little break from the ominous tone that this episode had. Tormund talking about killing a giant when he was 10 and then crawling into bed with his wife. And the giant's wife doesn't even know. He thinks it's her kids. Yeah, you just have to watch. You know the scene I'm talking about. That's just a great scene. Then he chugs the goat's milk or beer, whatever that is, out of the horn. It just gets all over him. Great scene. I loved it. Then, of course, there's the title of the episode, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which is Brienne of Tarth. Finally, she gets knighted. Man, yeah, she should have been knighted a long time ago. And the whole, I just like the whole way that it led up to it, because she puts off that she really doesn't care, but she obviously cares a lot, and as anybody would, because it's more the principle of the matter than it is anything else. She doesn't need an affirmation to what she's doing, but it's always good to be recognized when you're doing good. No matter how proud you are or how much you say you don't care, everybody cares about getting reaffirmed that they're doing the right thing when they know that they are. It's a great scene. I love that Jaime was the one who got to knight her. It's awesome. And then, of course, Podrick sings a song, and that dude's got a good voice. I'm kind of jealous. I wish I had a singing voice like that. This actually really reminded me of Return of the King. This final season is reminding me of Return of the King in a lot of ways. It really feels like they're prepping for a Helm's Deep. Helm's Deep is arguably the greatest battle scene in cinema, I think, and this might rival it. This is shaping up to be, really good. But back to Pod singing this really reminded me of Pippin singing his song. So yeah, it really reminded me of Return of the King. Really good. I love that they put that in there. There's a lot of good things in this episode for sure. And then of course there's Jon and Daenerys, and Jon finally tells Daenerys, what's going on. He's basically been avoiding her kind of the whole episode. It's been pretty understated, but it's obviously happening. The audience can tell why that's happening and know why. And finally he says something to Daenerys. I kind of wondered if he was going to say anything at all, but I guess he couldn't hold it in any longer, so he just went ahead and said something. Daenerys' reaction, she immediately is like, well, your friend and your brother are the ones who are telling you this. She's immediately just dismissive of the fact that this could be an actual real thing. She doesn't want it to be real, because that means that she by right, that she's claiming the right to the Iron Throne is that he has the right to the Iron Throne. And he doesn't really dispute it. He just kind of looks at her. And the way that he looks at her basically makes it look like he's like, maybe what Sansa said makes sense. I was willing to give up my crown to save everybody, but you don't seem to be like, and he doesn't really dispute the fact, because he doesn't want the throne. Jon does not want the throne. So the fact that he didn't immediately dispute it or get into an argument about anything, he just kind of stared at her, seemed like he was contemplating in realizations of what other people might be saying about her, and maybe changing his perspective of her at that specific moment. There's not much time to process it, because the White Walkers have arrived, and that's the end of the episode. So what do I think about the episode as a whole? Great. This was a great episode. I feel like it's getting a lot of hate from people, like, hey, why hasn't the action started? You wasted 2 of your 6 episodes doing nothing. No, there was a lot of stuff that happened in this one. This was better than the premiere, in my opinion, because what it did was it gave room to breathe for all the characters. It felt a lot more natural. The premiere of this season just, some of the scenes did feel natural, I'm not gonna lie, but the way that everything was kind of edited together, it felt like it was more of an info dump than anything else. And there's just so many things that happened in one episode. This one definitely feels like it takes its time more and takes its time to, breathe a tone into the episode of impending doom. This is the last day on Earth. For a lot of these characters, a lot of them are going to die this next episode. We all know that. We can debate on who that might be. We'll find out in a week who's actually going to bite it. But, this was just I love this episode. So many great moments. So well paced. Very, very quiet building episode with the characters. Very character focused. Even more so and better handled than the first episode. So yeah, just really good. Speaking of which, I did not mention Arya and Gendry. This was a great scene. I kind of overlooked it when I was talking about it. This basically encompasses the whole, this is the last night on Earth. All these characters know that there's a good chance that they could all die tomorrow. Like, there isn't a whole lot of hope. I mean, they're trying, they're gonna try, but most people have accepted the fact that they're just not gonna make it. And I really like the Arya and Gendry scene. It makes sense based on, what you've seen. Overall, it was just a really good episode, and I can't wait to see the conclusion in the next episode. It's just a week away. A week away, and everybody's gonna die. Man, it's really depressing. But it's also good. There's some finality finally happening now. There's momentum building. It started off, hey, we got to catch everybody up. Hey, there's this impending doom. Hey, Battle of Helm's Deep. Huge battle is about to happen. So, great stuff. I would give this episode like a 9.5 out of 10. And the reason I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10 is because what it is and what it's supposed to do is almost perfect. It's almost perfect. Very, very few flaws I saw in this. I immediately rewatched it, so I've seen it twice already. Yeah, the only real flaw that keeps it from getting a perfect 10 is really the Jaime portion, because it just kind of jumps right into it immediately. I'm glad it got over with quick, but I don't know. the way that it started was just kind of weird. But overall, great episode. Highly recommend it. Hope you guys are ready for the end. Game of Thrones. It's happening. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about this video and what you think about the episode. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, or don't. I'm not a beggar. I'm Geek264, and I'll always tell you the truth.